which led me down this path of like urgency, fixing, doing mode.
hmm
And and then it was like slowly unraveling it all.
Hey, beautiful. Welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self awakening journey. This is your weekly sanctuary for waking up from autopilot and transforming the way you approach life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It is my mission to help you heal unprocessed emotions and release stuck energies by alchemizing your struggle cycles into opportunities for deep self love, awareness, trust, and connection to return to your innate essence of being, stepping back into your energy of alignment. Because here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light, embodying all parts that make you, you. So if you are ready to get to the root of cultivating real change, get cozy, grab your journal and maybe favorite crystals, and let's discover our power within together. Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Naturally Empowered Living podcast. This is your host, Jenna Smith. And we have a returning gem here on the show, but in a little bit of a different light and a little bit of a different conversation than we had before. So I am so honored to be joined once again by Carolyn Williamson. She, just a little intro again, she was formerly a registered nurse and she has followed her passion for mind body well being to support mothers with holistic practices like yoga, mindset work, women's circles, human design readings. That is actually what our previous podcast was before. And now Carolyn is a community guide at Wand Her Wild, which is a virtual community for intentional and intuitive motherhood. So I love that space. Absolutely love that space. I was able to have a sneak peek of their community and it is amazing. And she also co-hosts the Wand Her Wild podcast. And she currently lives east of Toronto in Canada with her family, including her two children, 6 and 3. So Carolyn's passion, like you guys, it is palpable. So I cannot wait to dive into our conversation and her insights today. So Carolyn, welcome back to the show.
Oh, Jenna, thank you so much for having me. I'm honestly just so honored to be in conversation with you again today. We have just become friends through this entrepreneur space, and I was saying before we hit record, it's just so lovely to be in conversation with you because I feel like we could just chit chat all
Yeah.
day. But I was just like really looking forward today, and I'm just so honored to be back here on your podcast. So thank you for having me.
Oh gosh, that I know. We chatted for what, like 10, 15 minutes before we hit record. We're
Yeah.
like, okay, let's jump into this. Oh, I'm just, yeah, so thankful to have you back. And I'm so excited to dive in because like this is a completely different light. I
Yeah.
know that you bring human design into the Wander Wild space, but there's so much more. And when I say it's palpable, like you can feel just the love and support that you guys bring to this community. So
Thank
oh,
you.
thank you, thank you. Something that we talked about prior to recording is this belief that you hold, which I also agree with,
Yeah.
that there is a deeper energetic connection between mother and child, and that our children are meant to come into our lives for some reason to help us heal, to help us grow.
Mhm.
So, can you elaborate on that a little bit just for our listeners and just to jive back and forth?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. Like you said, I really do believe, and I think at Wander Wild, part of our mission is like, that we really believe that there is a sacred connection between mothers and their children.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is that I truly feel like we're meant to be in each other's life. Like there's a bigger purpose or almost like this deeper spiritual reason as to why these particular souls came into our life. And not only that, but like at a specific time too.
Mhm.
I think that, so I, like you said, I am a mom of two littles. Harvey is 6 and Ada is 3. And each of us have a different, but very unique, and I like to say kind of sacred bond.
Mhm.
And when I'm talking about like this kind of sacred connection, I honestly feel like there's parts of each other that really complement each other. They feel like
Mhm.
we like complete each other. It feels very like natural.
Mm.
But also within each relationship, like one with my son, with one with my daughter, there's parts of us, the relationship that can feel very like triggering
Yeah.
or like they're reflecting something within us.
Mhm.
And I think there's really like beauty in that. And that's what makes it sacred is like they're reflecting these things within us where we can learn to kind of grow and heal. And so when I think about a sacred connection, it's not just like this one way thing. Like, of course, we as mothers are here to like help guide our children, but I also think of it as like bigger than that. Like my children are here to teach me something too, to help me grow and heal and change. And with that, I can then mother them in a different way.
Yeah, totally. I resonate with that so deeply because I know having my first, Jace, who's also 6,
Yeah.
he completely woke me up.
Yes.
Completely woke me up. And I mean, granted, it took me a couple years to then be like Googling what is a spiritual awakening, but then it's like you look back at all these moments and you're like, oh my gosh, like everything, my perspectives of everything changed when I became
Yeah.
a mom. And of course, hormones and, postpartum, all this stuff plays a role. But I also believe, I mean, maybe taking it a level deeper, like there's that energetic connection there too. Like you are reborn as a woman, when you become a mom also. And pieces of that is like that waking up in my, personal experience.
Yeah. And I can resonate with that so deeply. Like Harvey for me was literally like he woke me up as well. He was not, so I come from a background as a pediatric registered nurse, which I think you mentioned. And so I kind of thought like motherhood was going to be like this easier transition for me because I was like, I got this. I take care of kids, all day. I teach moms how to care for their kids. Like motherhood is going to be this easier transition for me. And oh boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Um, and Harvey was like that quote unquote, like I don't even like to say it, but kind of like tougher baby, right?
Mhm.
He was born early. He was in the NICU. He had trouble gaining weight. He had trouble breastfeeding, and with that, I started dealing with a lot of like anxiety. I really wanted to try and control everything. I tried to work harder to be this perfect mom, and it just like didn't work. It just
Mhm.
didn't work. And that relationship and that connection with him really was like the thing that kickstarted me into this personal growth, this self-healing journey, because I was literally forced to like surrender to it all. And I honestly think that I would not be here today, like in conversation with you. I would not be doing the work that I'm doing if it was not for Harvey. I couldn't necessarily see it at the time, but now reflecting back, I'm like, you are the reason, he is the reason I am here. And he literally, his trigger, like those triggers within inside of me woke me up. And then I compare that to my relationship with Ada. So she's 3 years younger than Harvey. And there's ways that she triggers me as well. But it's a different relationship. It's very different. She wasn't that quote unquote tough baby. And I think because I had done a lot of this kind of healing work on myself, that I was in a very different place and space when she came into my world. And she yeah, the connection with her is just it's different. It's
Mhm.
just different, and each are here to teach me something about myself. It's just different, and I think I needed Ada to come into my life at that particular time after I had done all that work on myself, and it was just something very different that I got out of that relationship.
Mhm. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you saw me like crying when you were talking, because I'm like, I feel that so deeply. And it's
Yeah.
crazy how similar our stories are.
Yeah.
And well, minus like both of my children were quote unquote the difficult child. It's funny. But for different reasons. And I see like with Jalen also, she'll be 3 in 3 days after, we're recording prior. But yeah, like she's also the same age as Ada. And it's just the relationship. And maybe like the boy and the girl too, it brings a different, little bit different because I see myself in Jalen so much because the crying, like when I was little, I cried. I was a big emotions. Jace was too, but Jace is like he's grown out of it big time, but he was like the aggression, like he'd throw and hit. Jalen is like the screams, it's like the girl versus boy, how they handle it, right? But I see myself in Jalen so much in terms of, was my voice silenced for 30 years? I don't want hers to be silenced. I don't want to shove her feelings under the rug. We're already talking about letting your emotions flow out your toes. Let's feel that and let's allow it to, go through our bodies. And oh, yeah, I pulled out a quote as you were talking because this is something,
Okay.
this notebook, this journal, I think was like back in 2020 something, but I knew exactly where this quote was.
I love how
Um,
you have this paper and it's just like words all over it and you knew
it's
exactly.
I knew exactly where it was. This is my crazy organization that only I know about, right? But it says our children help us learn our soul's lessons. Children come to assist humanity as the planet moves into higher vibration. You, Mama, have been blessed to receive these souls as your children within your life. Your job is to follow their guidance and what they're here to teach you. So you embody the soul that you are meant to be. The souls of your children are asking you to heal.
Goosebumps.
And to me, it's like that when that awareness piece is there, because the awareness wasn't there for me right away with Jace. I mean, it was because I changed the complete trajectory of my career path. I changed, like things changed, but that deeper, like kind of where we're going with like that energetic connection, that the aha moments, the synchronicities. You and I talk a lot about that. Like nothing happens without reason, and it's just so divine. And yeah,
It's so divine. It's so divine. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like it makes you sit and reflect and like there's like this bigger purpose. Like
Yeah.
that's where I feel like that spiritual element come in of like you can like these connections can force you to stop and think like, yeah, there's a bigger reason for
Mhm.
all of this. That's how
And
I feel.
yeah, exact same. And just like the different lessons too, because we all are so different, even if we're also, you said it, like you're so the same, you have this special bond together, but in different capacities in different ways. And yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So how has this connection shown up? I mean, you shared a little bit, but how has it showed up like within your personal journey, if you want to elaborate a little more, or how do you see that within members within your community space? Like, how does it help you or shape you into the person, into the mother that you are now, and how does that continue to help you grow?
I think like kind of just, similarly to what I was sharing before, like it has just really helped me to look inside myself as I think a lot of times as mothers, we really like expect our kids to be a certain way, or that's how I was, I had this expectation around the type of mother I was going to be and who my children were going to be, what their personality was going to be like. And when that wasn't the case, I had to do a lot of like deep soul searching and almost like, again, it was a lot of surrender
Mm.
because being someone who, and I know you've shared like you've struggled with anxiety in the past too, like we've connected over that.
Mm.
um Being someone who struggled with anxiety, especially with Harvey and all those little things that came up with him, not eating well, not sleeping well. I just wanted to like control. I wanted to control it all. I wanted to fix it all, which led me down this path of like urgency, fixing, doing mode.
Hmm.
And and then it was like slowly unraveling it all. And I don't want to say that I'm at this place where, I have it all figured out. Like I don't. I don't have it all figured out, but I'm like slowly unraveling and learning to let go of control and to surrender and just like have them teach me like we were talking about so that I can mother in a way that feels good for me because it
Yeah.
didn't feel good to constantly be doing and trying to fixing and controlling.
The the ease versus the force, or the flow versus the force, the control versus the letting be. I feel like, of course, there's always a time and space because we are still raising our children. It's not like we could be like, all right, see you later. You're good. Like we're
Yeah.
still that parental figure. However, for me, I mean, speaking maybe more in like a logical, not scientific, but not so much a woo-woo energetic wise, it's not like a power struggle. It's not like I'm your superior type
Yeah.
thing. That was a really big awareness for me. Like, yes, I'm your mom.
Yeah.
And yes, okay, you do need to listen to me, like that type
Yeah.
of thing. But we're equal, we're a
Yeah.
team. And that was something really big that I think helped Jace a lot when, you're yelling at me or I'm always getting in trouble. We're a team. Let's
Yeah.
help get through this struggle. Let's help get through this together because you're not a bad kid. You just did something that isn't necessarily acceptable or, um,
Yeah.
so coming from like a team, like
Yeah.
I say that all the time. And
It,
Jalen, I don't know if you could relate to this, but like that 2 to 3, she's like getting so smart so fast. And I'm like, because I'm like, I could have these deep conversations with you, even though I know it still goes over their head. But like I know that it sits and it settles and they get it. Like they totally get it. Like that veil is so thin, if you will, but they totally understand I think the
they're
deep.
so they're so smart at that age. You're so right. Whew, they keep us on our toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, like she's counting down this morning, 3 days till my birthday. Yesterday, 4 days till like she knows. And I'm like you're here. Like we're actually talking now versus, like we were communicating, but it's just like completely different way. Like now I'm talking to her like a kid, not a baby.
Yeah, and you know what's been blowing my mind lately is, and I'm sure your kiddos are the same way, just like how much they understand their own emotions.
Yeah. If you allow it. Like,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
like I forget exactly what happened, but the other day Harvey was upset about something, and Ada said like, Harvey, like I can tell that you're really sad right now.
Mm.
Like, can I give you a hug? And like just like the emotional
Yeah.
awareness, so so cool and so
Yeah.
interesting. And that's been, something that I've been really passionate about has been like helping them to understand their own emotions because it wasn't something I was necessarily taught
Mhm.
as a kid. Like it sounds silly, but I really got into my own like awareness around emotions and my body. Like when I got into all this personal growth and healing work, which was like, in my 20s and
Right.
early 30s, right? Like it wasn't stuff that I was taught in school or
Yeah.
necessarily from my parents. And when they have awareness of their own emotions, like again, it teaches me to become more aware of
Yeah.
my own emotions in those like very triggering moments as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Jalen, she has dubbed the quote, like this is hers. Mama, calm me down. Mama, calm me down. Like,
Oh.
and it's hard sometimes because I'm like, because I also, but need to calm down. But it helps. Like once I'm like, okay, like she bring her to my chest and let's take some deep breaths.
Oh.
I'm doing it with her and I'm like, oh shit, like I'm calming down. Like, hello, I know what to do. It was like in that heat of the moment. So like what you're saying, like you're still not, no one's perfect, right? Like we still get to that threshold. We still lose our patience, but it's just, okay, slap in the face, Jenna. Like it's it's simple things. Like here, I'm telling my child to do this, but I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's that patience of we're doing the same thing, for the millionth time. But it's so true because then last night she's saying, like, I know that I need to take deep breaths when I'm upset, and it's just like, ah, mm. But in the heat of the moment, even adults don't remember, they don't know how to self-regulate. And I think awareness is a very big, even though we're not perfect. We're not 100% all the time, but we're aware to be able to recover, to repair, to, do better next time. And yeah.
They've brought so much awareness
Yeah.
into my life. And we were even talking about how like Jace broke his arm
Hmm.
and how you seeing him go through that experience and like really dealing with it in this very resilient way caused you to like reflect on what that would be like for you, or how you act when you
Yeah.
go through something challenging or you're
Yeah.
really sick, right? Like they teach us so much.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, so true.
Yeah.
So the last time that we talked,
Hmm.
this was episode 47. It was all about human design. Amazing episode. So go check it out if you haven't listened, episode 47. But how now, like kind of bringing that into how can human design and just understanding energy, how can that impact areas like deepening this connection with your children or having that communication or, helping their well-being?
Yeah. Yeah. So in case you haven't listened to that episode or it's been some time or you're not familiar with human
Mhm.
design, just kind of in short, human design is a tool that I've been using in my motherhood.
Mhm.
Um, and it helps me learn more about myself, who I am kind of on this like soulful level before the world taught me who I should be.
Mhm.
Okay. So you can look up your human design chart. You can also look up your kids' human design chart. And when I got into human design, I was like, I need to look up everyone in my life's chart, right? And understanding my children's chart was really helpful as well because it's just given me the permission to allow them to be who they are
Mhm.
without feeling like I need to change them. Again, sometimes they show up as who they are and we expect them to be someone else. And we really want to like resist. We're like, no, we want you to be more like me,
Right.
right?
What I
Or
think. Yeah.
compliant
Yeah.
or whatever it is, right? And so for me, understanding Harvey and Ada's human design chart has really just given me the permission to let them be who they are in their wildly beautiful whole selves and to let me be that too.
Mhm.
And so human design it involves a lot of different ancient systems like astrology, the I Ching, the chakra system. And when you look up your chart, you get all of this information about their energy and how they're designed to kind of move through life. So you're right. You can get a lot of information about how your child is, for example, designed to play, how they are designed to get optimal sleep, how they're designed to support their well-being, how they're designed to follow their intuition. And this might be very different from how we are designed.
Mhm.
So, just as an example, to make this a little bit more practical for the moms who are listening. So, I am a projector in human design. That's one of the energy types. It's kind of like your zodiac sign in astrology. It's one layer of human design, which can get very detailed and very complicated. But in general, projectors have this sort of like lower energy level. And in contrast, Harvey and Ada are generators. And generators in human design tend to have a lot higher energy level.
Mhm.
So, how they are designed to play and get their energy out through the day and their daily kind of rhythms and routines are very different from mine. And for a lot of time, like when Harvey was little, I was like, I can't keep up. Like,
Mhm.
I don't have the energy. I'm not meant, and then you start making it mean something, right?
Yeah.
I'm not meant to do this. I'm not a good mom. I can't keep up. What's wrong with me? That noise, that chatter in your head starts going. And so when I realized like no, he's just like designed totally different from me, again, there was like that permission of like I can be me, he can be him, and we can figure out how we can thrive together. And so I've started doing these new human design readings too. I don't know if I've even told you, but I'm doing these connection chart readings where you can take the mom's chart and the child's chart and you blend them together in this connection chart. It's so cool. And again, it's you really obviously see where there's these areas of like harmony where you easily kind of flow together, and also where there's these areas of pressure
Mhm.
or contrast, maybe areas where your values or the way that you work might be a little bit different. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, that's not a bad thing to be different. In fact, it's almost like a blessing, because where you're different, that's where you can be more open-minded and flexible to, these differing ways. And it can teach you to grow and heal. So, yeah, human design has just been this really incredible tool for me to support myself, to support my children, and to support our connection together.
That's so awesome that you do that. That you have. So that's a service that you provide within Wander
Yeah.
Wild then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I need to
absolutely.
look into that.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I loved you and I obviously had a human design chart reading. Back when we, before we recorded the episode, and it's
Yeah.
just so cool. And I mean, I have so many astrology books, so I know the kids, zodiac and the sun and the rising, like all, all those
Yes.
things. And
Yes.
just to bring that together with human design, because human design, like you said, it brings in astrology, but it brings in so much more
Mhm.
that I don't know why I never thought of that. Like I did Jameson's human design, but I never did the kids. That's so cool.
Yes, yes. And it's so cool. Like, again, I do both, where I focus in on the mother, right, and do the mother's chart, or I can focus in on children and do the children's chart. But it's just really, it's a really cool to see, how you complement each other and the way that you work in relationship with each other,
Yeah.
because that's really what motherhood is.
Yeah. Well, exactly, to be able, like that fine line of, being able to raise them and teach them respect and teach them kindness and teach them how to be resilient through conflict and all those things, but then also how to hold yourself still, how to keep yourself true to yourself, how to love yourself, how to trust yourself through, the challenge and the hardship and the confrontation and the controversy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So that's a really neat service that you provide.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I just did quite a few. I was just away at a retreat,
Mhm.
helping host a retreat with Wander Wild Family Retreats in kind of the Catskills area in New York. And I was lucky to do, I think it was about 5 or 6 um, connection chart readings for the
Wow.
mothers there in person. And it was just such like a beautiful experience. Yeah.
That's so incredible. Ah, so okay, let's dive into like Wander Wild. Like it is
Mhm.
such a powerful, just impactful, loving, like it's just so supportive. I love your community space. And it's a space for moms to be able to reconnect with their true selves and kind of from the perspective that we're talking to be able to grow and deepen that relationship with, their loved ones and children also. And now, excuse me, you guys are expanding like that vision and having this audio summit that is
Mhm.
next week. And
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be a part of it. I can't wait to, have our conversation there too. But can you share a little bit like of the inspiration behind this summit and kind of what people can expect and kind of
Yeah.
all the things?
Yeah, yeah, I'm so excited. And obviously you and I have collaborated before, so I'm just so stinking grateful to have you as one of the speakers inside of this Intentional Living for Mothers audio event. There are, I think, 32 amazing, amazing
Yeah.
speakers. These are like thought leaders in motherhood. If you enjoy this conversation today, like, you're going to be blown away by the amazing speakers that are coming. And I can't take credit for the vision of this audio event. Monica, the founder of Wander Wild and Wander Wild Family Retreats, was really the visionary behind it all.
Mhm.
But as soon as she told me, I was like, absolutely yes. Like, and I've been kind of helping bring it to life as well. So what it is it's just going to be these like podcast style conversations with these amazing thought leaders in motherhood. And our goal is just to really provide you guys with value, free value. So this is a free audio event. It's happening February 3rd through 7th. And you can listen to these conversations on the go. We know that moms are like so busy. We're so busy. So it's just easier to, pop in your headphones and listen to these conversations while you're, doing whatever you're doing. Out for a walk, you're going for a drive, you're folding the laundry, you're making dinner, the million things that we have to do.
Mhm.
And it's the conversations is around this theme of intentionality and being like really intentional in parallel to motherhood. So, Jenna, I know your conversation is about exploring struggle cycles and the pathway to growth. That sounds incredible. I actually want to like binge all of these
That feels
conversations myself. Uh,
yeah.
there's a talk about the power of breath and breath work exercises. There's sensuality as a mother. We're going into woman archetypes like the maiden, the mother, the crone. It's just like all this kind of like more holistic support for motherhood, but really helping you guys to be really intentional in your motherhood, to come home to yourself, like tune into your body when you're making decisions in your motherhood. So yeah, it's really, really exciting. So there's going to be these 30 plus conversations that you can listen to. Alongside that, there's also going to be like a little free community where you can join a WhatsApp group. You can connect with like-minded moms. You can connect with the speakers and ask any questions that you have. I know that community for me has been just so important on my motherhood journey. To like connect with like-minded moms has been like, yeah, it's just like what I've needed
Mhm.
to know that I'm kind of like on the right path. I'm not alone in all of this. And then there's also going to be live workshops happening that week, and all the speakers are giving away these like incredible free resources, and it's all free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the other amazing thing. Like we're not we're not pitching, we're not selling, like it's just value.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly when this episode is going to air, but you'll be able to sign up for this audio event. I'm sure Jenna will put it in the show notes, but
Yes.
if you go to wandherwild.com/hello, you'll be able to see like the link to sign up for this free event there.
Awesome. Yes, this episode will air before a week before. So it'll
Oh,
air
perfect.
the 27th. Is that Monday? I think that's Monday. But yeah,
Okay, yeah.
then the audio summit is the February 3rd to the 7th. So yes, it'll air, it'll give you a whole week to be able to go get registered, go check out the like the landing page or the web page that really promotes the audio event, because I read every single word of that page. I listened to Monica's little audio video, and going through the speakers, I was just like, oh my gosh, I already follow her. Oh my gosh, I follow her. Oh my gosh, I had her on the show, like Justine Carino. Like I'm like, she's been on the show. Yeah,
Okay.
I love her. I love her approach. She's a psychotherapist, I believe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an amazing conversation that we had. And just there were a whole handful of people that I'm like, oh my gosh, I already followed these people. I can't wait to listen to this event also.
And that's the cool thing, is because this motherhood entrepreneur holistic space, it's kind of small. So you're right. Like
Yeah,
I follow a lot of those people and look, like there's so much wisdom happening. And the cool thing is like a lot of them are at different points in their motherhood journey. Some have
yeah,
smaller kids, some have older kids. So it's just like soaking in the wisdom and viewpoints of all of these amazing moms who are doing this work for themselves
hmm,
already, right? And
exactly.
just sharing from personal experience. It's not going to be like, this is the way you should do things. It's just like, here's what works for me. And just like these beautiful kind of heart-centered conversations around motherhood.
I was just gonna say that too, like being able, like there's 30 plus, speakers, you are able to take what resonates and
Mhm.
take like this is what I need right now. Oh my gosh, so really just trust like where you're being pulled to listen first. And yeah,
Yeah.
so incredible. I'm so excited to be a part of this. And
I'm so excited to have you, Jenna. Honestly, like you were like when we were making the list, I was like, Jenna, check. I was
yay!
hoping you would say yes, but I was like really putting it out to the world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Of course. I got the email. I was like, yes, I love that. So thank you so much. This is such a wonderful conversation. And I will link the website to be able to go check out that audio summit in the show notes, and also where to just find Wander Wild and to learn more about it and all the things. I'll link all that in the show notes. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
and one more thing, guys. Okay, I know I'm not so much, presence on social media, but if this episode resonated with you, if you enroll for the summit, if you know that this episode could help impact someone else, or if you thought of someone else while listening to this, we would love for you to just either send this episode to a loved one or tag us on Instagram.
Yes,
You can
please.
share, take a screenshot of this, tag it to your stories. You could tag Wander Wild or Wander Wild Family Retreats.
Yeah,
Yep. Or naturally empowered living, I should say. And
absolutely.
yes, we would love to just hear how this episode has resonated with you. And we are always here for you. We are in this together. Thank you so
Yay.
much for being here with us. And thank you for listening. So blessed.
Thanks, Jenna.
Until next week, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and be unapologetic in who you are. We are sending our love and so much light.
Did you find this episode free or empowering? Please read my review. Tickle, 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 boop.
Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. If this episode brought you closer to stepping into your energy of alignment, I'd love for you to leave a written review and share how this show has supported your journey. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps others find the space of transformation. And sharing it with someone who might need it spreads the ripple of healing even further. Be sure to check the show notes for ways to connect with me and explore personalized healing sessions and mentorships to deepen your self-awakening journey. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.